Damn, big dog. I'm in motherfucking trouble right now. I'm in trouble right motherfucking now. Yeah, I'm in motherfucking trouble. The man in the mirror and my child got into it. And they confused. They say that I don't even let them come on here and this motherfucking spit no shit. They just being in the mirror and my shadow talking. But me, myself, I let the man in the mirror and the shadow rap. Shit, I've been in the shadow and I've been the man in the motherfucking mirror. That what they don't understand. I've been in the shadow and they been living my life and I've been the man in the mirror and he been living my life. So, well, how do I got to fix my life? Because the man in the mirror and the shadow, they just want to come take over. And they're real clever. They're real clever. See, them the niggas that been taking care of me. Man in the mirror, in the shadow. When I look in the mirror, I gotta make sure I haven't changed from his image. And when I talk to my shadow tell me, don't forget what we doing in the dark. And he can't live in the light. And I'm like, bro, what about me? And they say, take your glasses off. I say, no, I take my glasses off. I can't see without my glasses. And he say, well, what about the time that you didn't know where you were going and I helped you walk? I say, that wasn't you, man. That was Jesus. And you know that was Jesus. And he say, and you believe in Jesus? A man that died and came back to life. And I say, yeah, why shouldn't I? I say, that's way my granddad and my grandma raised me. And that's way my granddad and my grandma raised their kids. And I say, listen to my house of church folk. He said, no, we don't want that song to come out. And I said, why not? He said, because that song gonna make a lot of people understand you came from a house of church folk, but you graduated from the house of the devil. And I said, don't talk to me like that. And I said, because you know everything that was to survive, I had to do to survive. And survive, I had to feed my stomach. Because when my stomach gonna eat, you can ask my mama, that's a nigga that you don't want to see. So I try to change from him, you know, to give you a nigga that you want to see. Because when anybody tell me don't eat, that stomach right there, girl. And that's really bad for your stomach to ground and you can't feed it. And you the body. And you the one walking around here, and you should take care of yourself, but you can't take care of yourself. I said, Shadow, you got a point. And the man in the mirror said, well, what about me, my nigga? Don't forget about them times you slept in the car, nigga. You had to look in the mirror, and you had to tell yourself that wasn't you, nigga, when you didn't even know who yourself was. When the man in the mirror said he was okay with that, nigga, long as you slept all motherfucking day and ran the streets all motherfucking night. And I said, well, I want to get a job now. I got kids. I got to take care of my kids now. Shadow. And he say, nigga, we were doing that before you had kids. We were taking care of each other. And I said, yeah, but we were doing it in a bad way. And I say, I don't want to do that no more. And he say, ain't no you escaping me. I said, yeah, I won't get away with you. He said, you don't trust the process. I said, I do. I said, I skipped it. That's why I'm back at the beginning of the process. Learning my lesson all over again. When I should have learned it from the get-go. And I should have known that one way or other I'll come back to the beginning of the process because I thought I skipped it. But I really didn't skip it because I had to come back and motherfucking relive it. At this motherfucking age, I gotta go back to the beginning of the process. When I thought I knew everything, that process is the motherfucker, man. And not knowing your future and how these fake people that can tell you, well, you don't do this, you do that, And I never been a big people in Fort Chilling, but this is the way of 2025. We got so many people that telling the fortune. We got so many people that telling the fortune. And don't hate me because I deliver the right message. You know what I'm saying? They still love me, but hate my message. But love me, but hate my message. So we all can just still get along. But my message is, the Lord say, He can't tell the future. The Lord say pray to Him, because if we could go to somebody else and they could tell us the future, we won't run to the Lord, and the Lord wants us to run to Him now. That's why He's so angry, because we're not running to the Lord no more. We run into people that let us down and break our souls down, and when they break our souls down, it turns us mad against the world, when we could just run to the Lord, and the Lord will solve all our problems. Yeah. And the Lord had to show me to tell you that He had to break me down like a shotgun. But He said you still can shoot. He said because it's important to be able to shoot to be able to survive. So he's not a giving and godly loving God. He's a God that say you got to do something. And when He tell you that you got to do something, you got to do it. No matter if you don't want to do it, you got to do it because God said you got to do it. And when God speaks, you got to listen. And one thing when God is speaking, you have so many other voices in your ear trying to interrupt His speech. So you have to be careful. Your ears have to be clean. That's why it's important for your vessel to be clean. And I had to work on that. And one thing about me, my nigga ain't gonna lie to you. Because if I lie to you, then you won't understand that it's okay to be a guy that don't got it together, but trying to get it together. Because if you think you got it together already, you gonna fail. That's you. And don't never. One thing I gotta tell the young nigga, I gotta tell you, don't never set yourself up for failure. If you got a plan in your head, you got to think this plan, okay, like this is my plan. I got this plan, but you also got to think, is this plan go self-destruct me, or is this plan go build me up? Is this plan going to be the best plan for me, or is this the best plan for right now? Because, like I said before, we are going to survive. We're going to make this money that we live to get. We're going to make it to spend it, because, so many niggas, and it's happening. So many niggas make this money and they don't get to spend it. They don't get to spend it. And God did not make you here to get the money, not to be able to spend it. God put you here for you to get the idea that you got to acknowledge Him. Yeah. We don't never get us out the ghetto, out the slums or the trenches, because the trenches in the ghetto and the slums is where God get us from. So we don't get ourselves out of there. He gets us out of there. And when He gets us out of there, we don't show Him appreciation no more. We go to the motherfucking left when we know we should have went right. And the difference is, it's not going to be allowed no more. It's going to be very, very bad if you do that. And we see the consequences of what's happening now. And these are the last days. These things have to happen before good things come to pass. And the thing that I'm saying is, when bad things happen to good people, we ask God why. But when bad things are happening to other good people, we don't ask God why. We just accept our blessings. God wants us to understand, why don't we worry about other people? Why don't we worry about what other people are going through? Why have we got so self-considered that we got to think that we taking care of ourselves when He's all the one that's actually taking care of us? Yeah, I'm a rapper and a thug. But no, I'm not a thug no more. When I say that, I got to twist it myself because, you know what I'm saying, I'm a father. I changed. I got the glasses on, not the shade. I'll put the shades on later. But right now, you know what I'm saying, I'm not being comical. I'm being astronomical. Letting them know the stars and the moon is our dreams. if we 40 or 50 years old, we cannot stop dreaming because our kids look it up. And they know when you're not dreaming no more. They know when you're not happy. And when the kids know that you're not happy, you can't be happy for yourself no more because you're not living for yourself no more. Once you have kids, you're not here to make yourself happy no more. You're here to smile on the outside. Build yourself up from the inside. Yeah. Then you let your family tore you down. You got to build up from the inside, smile on the outside, and let them kids know we going from here. That's the hardest thing to do is us to go from here. Because especially when we never had a foundation and where we come from. And a lot of us on the 336, Eastville, a.k.a. Reeville, North Carolina area, have experienced what I would call a trickle-down effect. The parents don't have nothing, the kids don't have nothing, the kids don't have nothing. And when it goes so fast, when we're in a generation when we just trying to keep up with ourselves. And when we say trying to keep up with ourselves, you know, we sometimes we get misled with the drinking, the smoking the trees, and the trying to maintain in the head and say we doing this, you know what I'm saying, so we can be there for our kids. In our reality, self-healing don't come from drugs. It comes from recognizing your past and depending on the Lord. And that's what I'm saying. I'm in a part of self-healing right now. So I can be judged, but a lot of people can't judge me from my lessons when they ain't learned their own lessons. They judge me from my lesson, but they ain't learned their own lesson. So I feel like I can speak freely. And that's a part of understanding your lesson. And you can judge me. You can judge me all you want to. Say what you want to say about me. But I'm self-conscious about what I say and what I do now. And self-conscious means trying to make a better resolution. A resolution means trying to understand why you got it wrong. Understand why you got it bad. Understand that you don't need these people that living beside you in the same hood that why you had something to bring one brick in when all your hate gone, so now you one brick ahead. You one stone ahead of building something better. When the people don't want you to build nothing better because it's so fucked up, the crab in the bucket, the fat is so motherfucking in effect. My nigga, it ain't if we can pull us out, it's if you can pull you out. Yeah. We got to the point to where, like I said before, we can't pray for mercy and grace because God already put it upon us. We got to pray for His will to be done, and we got to pray for us to have better understanding of the things that we do. Because better understanding leads to better things. You can't be the man in the mirror and still fighting with the shadow. Because that shadow and the man in the mirror, when you take back control of them, they forget who they are and what their place was. When the man in the mirror and your shadow was only a reflection of you. Now you come back and want to be you. You had to put the old things in their place. I don't want this no more. I came so far with you, but you got me to where I gotta go. But if I want to go farther, I gotta let you go. I gotta separate myself from you. And separation is the best thing in an incomparable situation. In an incomparable situation, when you can't make sense of what's going on. When you can't make sense of what's going on, you have to take control of what's not going on and control what's going on. And when you take control of what's going on, you'll feel the control of what's going on because things change around you. The same people that love you, they don't like you no more. The same people that liked you, they don't love you no more. The same people that hate you, they loving you now. And when you be like, how to hate become love, how to love become hate, because you wasn't living in the right way to figure out what was really real. When you figure out what's really real, that's when you figure out this person that said they hated me, maybe they had someone that loved me, and this nigga stealing from me, and I thought he was the only one that loved me. That's the point of you realizing what's going on. When you realize that you're alone and you can choose. And when you realize that you're alone and you can choose, it gives you a better option of what to choose from, because you don't accept it in your heart and in your mind that you're alone. So if you don't accept in your mind that you're alone, you accept who better that you want to get comfortable with. That you can talk to them about their lonely night, that you was alone, you didn't have nobody. When everybody turned their back on you and they said they love you and they said you them fake ass kisses and them big ass fake ass homeboy love hugs, you better scope it out. Even if you ain't got the ego out no more, you can scope it out. Because now you're involving your mind, your eyesight, what you hear, your smell. Even the smell can lead you the right way. And I'm just giving you game for tonight. You know, before I go in here, cause I say the man in the mirror, in the my shadow is you. And I say these are things that they want to talk about, but they figure they don't get no time because I have too much that I gotta do in my life with my kids, you know, the wifey, you know, trying to better myself. So the man in the mirror and the shadow feel like they don't get to talk no more. They say when I put them in the motherfucking charts, I put them up. I didn't. I kept them on assignment. And I said, well, if we at war, why we can't come up to fight? And I said, well, nigga, I never let y'all ran loose. Y'all controlled me. So when I can't control you and y'all can control me, we lose control. Because we getting the wrong control together. But that's from the man in the mirror and the shadow. But I'm in the light. So he can't come to talk to you. And I'm on the camera, so I ain't in front of the mirror, so the man in the mirror can't talk. This is just what they wanted me to tell you. And they also wanted me to say, front line, we out. The death duel.